Does Amber Heard believe her own lies? That's what I find myself asking when I'm watching her, because she'll be confronted with her own words and having an argument, admitting that she instigates fights and she hits Johnny Depp. She'll have that playing, and she'll have often too her taunting him, her laughing, and all of this kind of derisive, aggressive, just it reveals the whole interplay, the manipulation, the deflection, the gaslighting, all of those. But yet she can hear her. It'll be right in front of her, and she will still deflect to no end. So it's almost like when an object comes right at someone's eye and we blink as a reflex. Her reflex and her personality disorder's reflex is to just not ever confront any truth about her that threatens control and her self-image. So when she's confronted with something, even if it's her own voice saying it, it's like just deflect at all costs. And she will avoid seeing it so much that everything she'll be saying about Johnny Depp is exactly the behavior she'll exhibit. For instance, she was talking about how Johnny will avoid responsibility at any cost. Meanwhile, she's throwing her sister under the bus, her lawyers under the bus, medical people under the bus, and literally everybody except her is wrong. And it's because her whatever, if you can call it histrionic, you can call it narcissism, you can call it borderline. She's had several diagnoses, but what it is it's viewing that seeing yourself as bad is annihilation, and or being faced with shame is annihilation. And so we all have shame, right? Shame is when we truly feel as though it's just this corrosive level of, it's way beyond embarrassment, right? And it's not guilt, because guilt is about an action. Oh, this action I did is wrong. Shame is thinking I am wrong and bad, and it's really feeling that, swimming in that. And the narcissistic defense and many other personality disorder defense is to not see that, to not be in that shame. Because whatever has caused this narcissism was usually a deep confrontation of shame that felt like death, felt like annihilation. And so then this defense mechanism of instant deflection, oh, not me. Like somebody can say, I have a video of you stealing these cookies out of the jar, and they'll be like, oh no, that video was mischaracterized my actions. I wasn't stealing the cookies out of the jar. They'll talk in circles about that video of stealing cookies forever, and that's what we see Amber Heard doing. She, at all costs, even kind of talking about the photos that she produced for the court, she'll act as though there are secret other photos that do reveal the truth that her lawyers didn't allow her to show, you know. So she has this way of completely circumventing and deflecting to an absurd level. And she can't see, like what all of us see when we're watching is, we see how she's digging herself in a hole because, but see, the blindness of her defense mechanism does not let her see herself as bad, does not let her experience shame, because that felt like death. And so what she experiences instead is a deflection, which becomes a projection, and that projection is then everybody else. Everybody else is doing these behaviors that actually she's doing. And then as she's seeing that out in the world, her other reaction is that's very knee-jerk defense mechanism, you know, a sharp object going to your eye and you blinking, that's how quick it is, it's a quick reaction, is to not see herself as bad, not face her shame, but also to always keep control. And so another thing I'll notice in her testimony and in the cross-examination is initially her way of keeping control was playing on people's empathy, pity plays. So being like, oh, like doing that. When she realized that wasn't effective, she got way more into the kind of harsher, almost ready at the cusp of belittling people. So like when she's talking to Camille, or when she's talking to Camille and kind of talking down to her about cocaine or making a little comment, those are her new way of trying to have control. But and when she gets to the point where she really can't keep control, because in a court setting, you really can't, you can't hit people, you can't belittle people, that's all very disrespectful. So, and you can only do pity plays to a certain degree. So what she has done is just a very strong, very certain of her point of view, even to the level of absurdity, even though if it's ridiculous, even if you show her a video of her, you know, show her a video of her doing something, she'll still talk around it. And that's why there's a frustration that we have where we say, how can she believe all of her lies? They're just so obvious. Well, she won't let herself confront shame at any cost, to a degree that's different for normal people. So, because shame for her is death, annihilation. I don't exist. So she has the false self, and she does believe that. She really does believe she is a victim. And even though there's one part of her that does know it's lies, because one part of her you can tell by when people see incongruent body language, you see how people will be shaking their head while they're talking about something. That's their body is actually showing that incongruency that reveals, okay, I'm not congruent with myself, with what I'm saying. So that's the whole thing with her, is she has one aspect of her that does know, but it's like she doesn't allow herself to even know that part of her that knows. So she doesn't allow herself to see that self-awareness. The part of her that's trying to protect is just so quick. It's a quick, knee-jerk, reflexive, reactive defense mechanism that is acting fast to deflect any responsibility, to deflect any sign that she's not the false self or the good self. So her refusal to see the bad in herself is something that we have to look at. We can't, it's just like how Johnny was confounded. That's why he wanted to record their conversations. He's like, let's record it, and he would tell her, listen to the recording. See, he just wanted her to try to understand, try to step into his shoes. But what we all have to face is she believes her own lies because she lives in a lie. It is her defense mechanism toward shame. And it's fascinating, and hopefully she will not have the opportunity to raise a daughter in that type of personality disorder, because it will create a very terrifying environment. So let's get that baby away from her.